Services Committee meeting will come to order. We'll have roll call.
Ms. Weber?
Present.
Ms. Parker? Present. Ms. Polk? Mr. Snipes? Ms. Peters? Present. Ms. Dunbar? Mr. Fairfield? Present. Mr. Zenz? Mr. Carrico? Present. Mr. Eckhoff? Present. Mr. Featherling? Present. Ms. Zucolo? Present. Mr. Kirkstra? Present. Mr. Wheeler? Present. Mr. Searoy? Present. We have a quorum. Oh, Ms. Polk?
Good to see you. Thank you for coming. I don't have any notices of public comment. Is there any public comment? No, thank you. Are there any announcements? The minutes are have been sent to you for January 21st, 2020, and they do really say that on your agenda, but it looks like a 19, but it's really a 20. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from January? Brenda Zuccolo. And a second. Ms. Peters, will you second it? All in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say aye. Motion is carried. We'll have the first report from County Clerk Dan Hendrickson. We'll have a motion to accept that. Mr. Featherling will move to accept it. Mr. Eckhoff will second it. All in favor of accepting his monthly report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say aye. Motion carried.
Okay, I'm done.
Yes.
Just wanted to touch base with you, let you know what's going on with us and
Thank you.
going on with elections. Today is the last day to register to vote for the primary election. But if you fail to register to vote today, we start grace period registration and voting tomorrow. So we've got that going for us. Early voting started on the 6th of February. We're at right now at 147 people have come in. We've gotten two ballots back by mail. A little bit slower than what we were 4 years ago, but not horribly slow. I'm sure things will pick up in a little bit. We will be at Mantino on the 5th through the 7th of March at the Leo Hassett Community Building, and the 9th through 14th at the Bourbonnais Administration Building, the upstairs portion. We'll be doing election judge training sessions on the 24th and 25th out at KCC. And for early voting for us, extended hours will start on March 7th. We'll be open that Saturday from 8:30 to noon. That week before the election, that Monday through Friday, we'll be open until 7 o'clock every night. The weekend before the election, that Saturday, we'll be open 8:30 to 4:30, and that Sunday, we'll be open 9 to 4. And the day before the election, we'll be there until 7 o'clock that night as well. We've been testing machines. We're pretty much everything's going as they anticipated. We did have to swap out one machine. It wasn't counting like it was supposed to. Those machines are nearing the end of their life cycle. So I'll be mentioning that probably after the election. We'll talk about how many machines we had to swap out on election day. Hopefully none, but got that. I did want to comment next community services, I believe, will be on, if schedule holds, would be on March 17th, which is the day of the primary election. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to make it for that one, so please forgive me. So
is that, will you do that? Yes.
if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my ability.
Number 5. Okay.
Thank you. I have a lot of snowbirds in my district. I had a few that I was talking to over last week. What's the deadline on requesting a mail ballot?
We have to have the application back not less than 5 days before the election. So the 12th of March would be the last day that we can get the application back. Okay. We can't speak for, sending out the mail, and we can't speak for the, the time it takes to return that service. So ideally, if they're out of state, they should be contacting us as soon as possible, just so that we can make those allowances for the postal service.
Yeah, this was like about 10 or 15 people out of state. And
sure.
You have that form on your...
We have that form on our website.
It's a fillable form on the website?
It's not a fillable form. That PDF is not fillable, but they can print it out, fill it out, and send it in to us.
Thank you.
Can we fax it to you?
We can't. The only faxes that we can accept are from military voters.
Oh, sure.
Legislation's written that we can only accept electronic signatures from military or overseas voters.
So I hope each of you have voted. I voted the other day. Took, a few minutes. That's all. Get a sticker.
Yeah.
I had a person in my district volunteer to be an election judge. I hope you have people you've asked people and they say you would take all.
We're not proud. We'll take people as long as they're willing to do the training. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the training can be online still.
Training, we do have training online.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
Yes, let me get you. Yeah, I do. If you're not up for election.
If you're on the ballot, no.
No, looks
No.
bad, huh?
Just-
Especially when you visit the poll.
Right.
But if you're not, are you on the ballot this time? Are you on?
I think so.
Are you odd or even? I guess is the
No,
question.
I'm not actually.
Well, if you're
We're all
even,
at the end at the same time this time.
yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Anything on your report you want to highlight?
Nah.
Not a thing. Okay. Any questions at all? Okay.
Okay, thank you all very much. Have a great day.
Thanks, sir. Next, we'll go to the assessor, Mr. Blair. Turn to the assessor's report. Turn you off.
Okay.
Mr. Carrico, would you be willing to
I thought
move that
George
we accept
wanted
his
to, so
report?
they don't bother with it.
And Ms. Parker will second the report.
I didn't know.
Thank you. All in favor of accepting the assessor's report, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say aye. Uh-oh. The motion is carried, not unanimously. All righty, what can you share with us today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't have a lot of items for you this morning, but I just want to bring you up to date on things that we finished in January and we've started so far in February. The Department of Revenue issued some questions, routine questions for us in terms of the final abstract. I turned those around and gave them the answers the same day on February 11th, a week ago today. So I'm expecting that the final abstract may be certified to us by the end of the week. I would hope, because they've been in possession of those questions for a week now, and they haven't they've acknowledged receipt of them, but they have not asked me anything further. So I'm assuming that everything is okay. I also wanted to let the committee know that we did report all of our 2019 sales to the Department of Revenue by the end of January, which is really important for the next part of what I was going to mention, which is we are still waiting for the detailed sales list from the Department of Revenue, which they can't give us a 2019 detailed sales list until we've reported everything from the prior year. That could come anytime in February, March, April. It's come as late as May too. So I never know quite when they're gonna finalize those things out. The same department that works on the abstracts also works on the sales list. So I think they give priority to tentative abstracts and final abstracts before they get into those things. So you know, like I said, the things that we've completed, I've answered those questions from the Department of Revenue. We've reported those sales to the Department of Revenue. But I'm still waiting on the final abstract certification and the detailed sales list. Those are really the things that are going on right now. I'd entertain any questions at this time, please.
Sure. My question is, if you thought about it for a minute, are there areas of the county that their values continue to rise, or is it sporadic?
Well, at the annual meeting with the assessors in December, I did give them all my early projections on percentage change, and I believe every township was calling for some level of change, some level of increase, excuse me, some level of increase. There was no decrease in the list. The county total, as I projected, the county total would be somewhere right around 4% positive. It just depends on which part of the county we're talking about as to how they contribute to that 4%. Some are a little higher, some are a little lower. but there was no stagnant change and no negative at this point. But I am still, I mean, part of that confidence would come from the certification of the 19 sales ratio study, which we'll get sometime this spring. Because that third year, that newest year, I'm projecting that, and I'm pretty confident that it's close, but I'm always waiting for them to give me the certified numbers before I know for sure.
Aren't you pleased with that report that every district had a positive and the average increase in value is 4%? No negatives, no stagnates.
That would, I would hope that would show some strength in the market for sure.
In our county.
Yeah.
One last question. Where do your sales numbers come from? Does that come from the recorder's office?
The recorder gives us the P-Tax 203s, which coincide with deeds that have sales along with them. Yeah,
So it's a cooperative effort.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Every week.
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you. It is good news when property values increase. How does that affect the EAV and people's property taxes?
Okay. Well, it would show that the EAV would increase overall, but the property taxes themselves really have more to do with the levy from each taxing body. So as values go up, that doesn't mean that your tax bill is necessarily going to increase. It's really up to the taxing bodies and how much they're levying for, and that goes along with what the clerk would have to do with tax rates to go against the value. So the assessment is only one fraction of how that bill is calculated.
So if the levy stays the same, the taxpayers go up.
If the levy were to stay the same and your assessment were to increase, then theoretically your rate could decrease and the bill would be roughly the same. I would say roughly the same. I wouldn't say penny for penny because there's too many moving factors there.
Right, without CPI, new construction, all those other things you're talking about.
Right.
So, and we don't know what the school districts are going to do with their municipalities, which are the majority, 80% roughly of the tax bill anyway.
I would say that's at least 80%, yeah.
Fair assessment, pun intended?
Yeah, I believe it is a fair assessment, sir, yes.
Thank you.
That's what assessors do, right? Is there anything else on that? That's just a positive good news today. If you have nothing else to go home with, that's a good one. So it's good to live in our county. Don't move out of Illinois, right?
Have a great day, folks.
Thank you very much. What did you say? Where did we join? So we're going to be Indiana. Next, we have the recorder, Ms. Gaboy's report. Mr. Fairfield, would you move to accept that report? Okay. Mr. Cerari, will you second it? You will. Okay. All in favor of accepting the recorder's report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. So it's unanimously accepted. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Questions on the report?
What would you highlight? What would you say is great, or you wonder about?
As I've said before in this meeting and to other people, we can't market for the office, so we can't drive the sales. No. All we can do is hope that the documents that come in are good documents that we are able to record upon receipt. So, but as you can see, and from what I'm hearing from our title partners that come in, they're busy. Yeah. So, which means that potentially, you know, as they're doing their searches, they're preparing property transfers, and they're going to end up in my office. So that's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, as we noticed in the report, 2020, January, the 155,000 is higher than any 2019 month. That is really what was going on in December.
There were some farm transfers.
Good for acre money.
Yeah, so it's a good time right now. Things are actually turning around, so we are seeing more and more transfers. We're seeing higher home sale prices, which is a good thing too. So county benefits, state benefits. So.
Oh yes, you're saying who benefits from that?
Right.
Everybody.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Any other comment on that? Good news? Anything else? I would, the question I mentioned to her before the meeting is, I was at a meeting last night, and we spent 15 minutes deciding who owned that property before Mr. Jones owned the property. So I said, look, I'm gonna ask,
Yeah, call Lori.
because, yeah, I was gonna ask this guy today, just what piece of paper do I need to bring to your office so I can find out who owned this property originally?
Originally or the previous
the
owner?
process.
Okay, so actually you really don't need a piece of paper. If you have now we're able to search by common address and PIN number, which was an ordinance the county board passed in August of 2018, which is a huge help to people because many people don't know the legal description to their property.
Mm-hmm.
So just coming into my office, if you have the address or if you have the PIN number, which is helpful, we are able then through using the treasurer's website to get some information to ultimately get the legal description, because we do search by legal because that is how property is identified in our offices. So we're able to help people and then do the process either through the computer system, which is now back to 1987, and then beyond that through the books.
Sure. And so actually, I mentioned that if I brought my real estate tax form, that would have the PIN number on it, which is a key number.
It also has your legal description on it too.
Wow.
So
There you go.
yeah, it's a help. It's a short legal, but it does get us to where we need to get started.
Well, somebody found something in a closet, and they were trying to figure out who put it there. And I said, well, now they can find out who put it there.
Yep. No, we're more than happy to help anyone.
Anything else? And you're still with that fraud.
We're still working
each time.
on promoting property fraud. We're still signing people up just about every day, and the system's working. No hang-ups. So if you haven't done it yet, it's very easy and it's free.
Oh, did you mention that part? How you short-staffed at this point?
We have been blessed with a baby.
That's good.
So we have our first recorder baby in my tenure of being here. Very exciting. And yes, mother and child are enjoying their bonding time out. We're looking forward to her returning, hopefully the end of March.
Okay.
So yes. So yes, I'm short staffed, but
It's exciting and covering till then.
yes, absolutely.
Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, thank you for your good report.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Next, we'll turn to animal control. Ms. Laird, and the monthly report there. We'll turn to Mr. Kirstra. Would you move that we accept the animal control report? Okay, that's good. Ms. Polk, would you second that motion? Okay. All in favor of accepting a report of animal control, say aye. Any opposed, say aye. Motion's carried. Hello.
Hello.
Look at her report. Do you have a question about how come there were 25 bites, or how come this, or how come that, or what I noticed on the back page, or no, so on this page about, was it 36, 36 animals, what was the 36 about? 36 animals, strays. So your staff was working very hard if there were 36 strays, picking up strays all over the county?
All over the county, yep. So we get calls all over the county, incorporated, unincorporated areas. As long as we get their permission to go in unincorporated areas, or incorporated areas, we can go pick up the stray animals.
One incident that I was working at the village of Herscher in a part-time job, and a call came to me, to the office, and said, there's a stray dog at the edge of Irwin. So I said, the village here cannot help you here, but I'll call. And I caught Officer Rasmussen, is that correct?
Correct.
And she said she would take the van to the edge of Irwin and pick up the dog, and the lady who called stayed and waited, and it came back. So the question is, if the dog has I'm pointing to the neck because
A microchip or
a microchip,
A microchip.
or even a collar,
So if they have a microchip, they're scanned in the field and scanned in the office, and then the microchip number is put in our computer system, and then we look for the owners according to the microchip. So if there is a microchip, we cannot find the owner. We hold them for 7 days. If there is no microchip and no owner, it's 3-day hold.
and then
we assess them for adoption,
sure.
and then transfer them out or adopt them from our
okay.
facility.
So on your report also, you have where animals have been gone to other licensed
Correct.
areas and things
We get,
like that.
yes. Frequently, we have agencies that come down, or over however it is, and they take animals from our facility that are adoptable, and they adopt them out, at their facility. So it helps us out a lot because they relieve the stress, the staff from taking the animals in and cleaning and stuff like that, and then they adopt them out at their facility.
And there's good, last time I think we were discussing cats, and a
Correct.
facility was going to come and
They
mass.
did. We currently have 0 cats in our building.
Can you imagine?
Yes, but
What was that you said? Say it again?
Yeah, well, yeah. Today, currently, there's 0 cats in our building. We're anticipating we're going to get cats soon. We have a situation, so we're anticipating there will be cats in our facility shortly.
But that is a result of an agency coming to help you.
Multiple agencies coming to take it.
Multiple
Yes, we
agencies.
actually had a mama kitten, a mama, and I think 3 or 4 kittens that were a couple days old. An agency came down and took the cats, and they're helping them up there.
The whole family, yeah.
Correct.
That's good to know, isn't it? Yes. So, let's see, anything else? Oh, the other was in your report, it was a job opening. Is there a job opening?
So currently there is a job opening. I had interviewed 2 people for the position. I am going to offer 1 person the position. Hopefully that person will take that.
It was a tech specialist?
Kennel tech, correct.
Kennel tech. Okay. So, Mr. Featherly, I'm sorry. Did you interview? No. We were encouraging him to apply. But that's really good news. And is that full staff then?
It is. It's full-time, Monday through Friday, 35 hours a week.
The other thing that we're mentioning beforehand is Lori mentioned that she had wanted to bring some newspapers. I think we should mention that every once in a while. What can you use? And then what happened to the newspapers, unfortunately?
So the newspaper was left outside. We were closed last Wednesday. They were brought in Wednesday, left outside in a box, and the box was open and the newspapers were destroyed.
So the kennel newspapers that you desperately need were all wet and couldn't be used. So
Correct.
would you be willing to bring a box next meeting?
Sure.
Okay. So if you have newspapers, you don't know what to do with them.
I'll bring a dog too. Anyone want to take a dog? We have some cute ones for adoption right now.
If we fill out the paperwork correctly. Anything else you need? What do you need? Treats? Do you need food? Do you have it on your website?
So our food, we get donated. We do get some food that's donated. The food that we purchase, though, is specific for the animals that we
Yes.
have there. We're gonna keep them in the same diet when they're there for a while.
That's why I'm asking about the food, is because I had heard that before. You don't like to change food on animals.
Correct.
Causes cages to be really dirty.
Correct. Yeah. Treats are fine. Peanut butter,
yes.
stuff like that. Even empty toilet paper rolls. The cats like to play with those.
Oh,
So
if you had
something
some.
that, I found was different.
Did you hear what she said? Yes. All right. And then I found, on your website, you do have lists.
There
right?
is a list.
Yeah,
Correct.
that would help too. Anything else? Thanks for your good report.
Thank you. I have this.
Oh, yes.
report.
Let's go to, if we've taken care of the 2 first parts, so go to the 3rd part on your agenda, minimum wage adjustment increase. Please report.
So currently we have 3, potentially 4 employees making less than the minimum wage increase in July. So we are asking that the potential wage increase be brought to the finance committee. The sheriff is not here, yeah.
No, I was looking for Anita because we've already
Oh, okay.
done those calculations and
Correct.
planned on those increases already.
Yep.
Because we have to comply with state
Oh.
law. So they will be adjusted when they have to be.
Yeah, we're, so the overall increase is roughly $10,000 that we're asking to be added to the budget for an overall.
Annual amount.
Correct. For the overall increase for all the employees.
But will the increase not be till July?
I'm sorry?
The increase that she's talking about?
Well,
will-
she was talking about the minimum wage increase, and that's what we had already calculated. So there's others.
There's the rest of the employees, we're trying to get, trying to keep those ahead as well.
So this is different than what they're discussing.
So there is a minimum wage increase in July that will affect 3, potentially 4 employees. We're trying to get those ahead of time and also get the other employees bumped up as well.
Like this.
Which, yes, will be roughly $10,000 for overall. For the entire.
Overall, for the.
$10,000, yeah, currently more.
In the
more than we
required
have.
group and as well as your, so 3 or 4, but how many outside the 3 or 4 would be?
So there would be 4 more.
4 more. Which
That they make more than minimum wage. We're just trying to get an increase in their wage as well.
is for employment reasons and stay on staff reasons and
Correct.
good morale reasons and all those things. So all our duty is today is to recommend it go to finance. Mr. Snipes?
To my knowledge, because that took effect January 1st, I believe. We having the back pay, I believe.
No.
No, there's
don't have-
employees that are making more than that. They're making less than $10 an hour. The potential, the wage increase would be $10 in July, there's 3 or 4 employees that are making less than
Okay,
$10.
so they're over the
Correct.
925, but they're under
Yes.
the 10. So that
Yes.
will be effective again
In July 1st.
in July 1st.
Yes.
Okay, because I know the increase of $1 is going all the way to 2025.
Correct.
So I'm thinking, because that's a state and we have to do it, you know, is it more feasible to just, you know, just to prove the overall rate increase going to finance, because it's going to happen every year until 2025, till it gets to the $15 that the governor has imposed. So are we just going to do it every year, or are we just going to make the necessary adjustments? And I guess that would be more for the chairman, I'm thinking.
We do budgets every year.
So we're going to just put them into the budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just asking for a $10,000 increase into our current budget
Okay.
to cover the wages.
For what, can you give us an example of somebody that's making more than $10, what they would be making and what you're recommending they make?
So there is our office manager. She'd be making $2,400 more than she's currently making.
And what are those numbers? What?
She is making, you know, her annual salary $37,024.60.
And you're increasing it to 39,
$520.
and are the other 3 similar to that? They're making, what is that percent that is there a percent that you're doing? Or
The sheriff worked on these numbers. I'm not quite sure what he worked on them. I want to say they all ended up being even amounts. I think they're less than $1, right around $1 increase.
an hour?
Correct.
$1 an hour increase. Okay, so what are the,
2080. That sounds right, because 2080. Yeah.
Well, they're actually less than that because they are 35 hours.
what are the titles of the other 4, not the 4 that will come about in July, but the other?
So 3 animal control officers,
Oh.
and then the other clerical staff.
So the animal control officers are one of the groups that we were concerned for, because you all work hard, but they especially have the task of going out and working, and you wanted to
Correct.
keep those marketable and
Correct.
happy. Mr. Featherly,
When you talk about that increase you need in your budget, does that include workman's compensation increase? Because if you're paying a percentage of their pay towards their benefits and stuff, does it increase the benefit amount?
I'm not
Higher
sure.
percentage of social security, higher percentage for workman's comp.
It makes
higher
sense, yes,
percentage for
there.
liability.
Pension.
So really pension, and you're gonna
Okay.
really want more than the $10,000,
You want-
aren't you?
close.
You're really gonna want more than the $10,000, right?
Right.
So do you have an idea what that is? What's your workman's comp rate, do you know? Is it like 10% or something? and
I
12%?
don't know that.
Okay.
So it probably isn't our solve of that. The numbers probably aren't. Is what if the philosophy is, should we ask finance to consider it? That's, I think, what.
Yeah, but if you raise the wage, you raise everything else that goes along with it up the ladder. So 10,000 could be a $13,000 increase in your budget. I think, Andy, is that a rough estimate?
No, because
3,000 or something on that, 10,000? 30%?
that would be 30%. Usually benefits are part of that 30%, so it's probably less.
Less than,
It may be 11.5 because benefits are expensive. I mean, health insurance I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not increasing.
but workman's
FICA, all the pension,
Go with the
all
salary.
the other stuff would go
workman's
up.
compensation,
Maybe
liability on the
1.5%.
officers and all that goes up too?
No, work comp. Well, the amount.
Comp goes up.
The amount, work comp
percentage.
goes up, and that's
Yeah.
audited yearly, so, like I said, about 1.5 points.
Okay. Just want to let you know, think about that.
So the positive side here is to bring employees to the level the state is demanded,
Those 3 plus potentially increase
and
the other ones
helping
as
the
well.
other ones for just good public relations or good.
We're trying to keep employees there long-term, and I think that increasing the wages would help them boost morale and keep them there long-term as well.
The negative is it's just a cost to the budget. That's what the negative is. Is there anything else you'd like to mention about either one of those? So is it, we need a motion to recommend it go to finance, or a consensus to go?
I'll make the motion
Okay.
to send it to finance as a recommendation, that we think that there's a need.
Okay,
But also put in the caveat that we want the comps to go with it, what other counties are paying and what kennel techs and ACOs get elsewhere.
to bring that information to finance.
Exactly.
Okay, you got that? Okay. Is there a second to doing that? Mr. Mr. Fairfield seconds it. Any other discussion? So just to be clear, the committee is recommending to send it to finance, who will evaluate along with comparable counties. Okay, Mr. Smith, have a question?
Help me understand. What I was considering is that we were adjusting those individuals that are not at the minimum wage. They're coming up. That's the 10,000. Now the ones that's making
It's overall, all
that's
the
overall.
employees, correct.
So the $37,000 employees.
That's included in the
That's all
$10,000
into the
increase.
$10,000 increase. Okay, we just want to make sure that is clarified so we'll know.
Yeah, and the only thing she said was that it did not include any other benefit part of it. That's
Okay.
salary. That's
Correct.
just salary part.
Okay.
Okay. I think there's any other questions about it? Okay. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say no. Motion carries. Thank you, Karen. Okay, for animal welfare, Ms. Parker's going to report from her chair because. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We ended up canceling our meeting on February 14th because of inclement weather, so we didn't have a chance to meet. We're going to be meeting again on March 11th at 3 o'clock, second floor conference room here at the county building. And the only announcement that we have is really an important event. It's a fundraiser for 3D Wildlife Rescue and Rehab, and they're going to be having an annual cabin fever fundraiser on February 22nd, 1 to 6 p.m. at TJ Donlands in Bourbonnais.
What day is that of the week? Does anyone know what February 22nd is?
Saturday. Sunday. No, Saturday.
Oh, there's something else you could go to.
Right down the road, spaghetti dinner. Okay. And the only thing I would,
Yeah, I will.
the other thing that I would like to say is thank you, Carol, for handling the January meeting in my absence, and I want to thank everyone for the get well wishes. My new hardware in my back is working out great, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm back at it now.
And I thank Tinker for 2 cupcakes today. I became older on Friday, and she was willing to give me 2 cupcakes. So no reflection on my age, but it is the same number in both columns. So. Oh yes. So that was the old business. Anything else for under new or old business? Thank you for your report. Thank you for being here today. So whoever hasn't had a motion today, Ms. Parker, would you, oh, Mr. Eckhoff, you seconded something. You move that we adjourn? Mr. Carrico, you want to second that we all? Okay, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Thank you.